Welcome to the Creatorpreneurs podcast, where we delve into how creatorpreneurs monetize their knowledge through content and how you can become one too. I'm Rico Lazo, joined in the studio by my twin brother, Antonio. How's it going, bro?
Great to be back. Already recording the second episode. Want to give a quick shout out to the guys here at Address Play. They offer a fantastic podcast studio, state-of-the-art equipment, and they've really just given us this red carpet, white glove treatment, which is why we're back here again. To the listeners and viewers tuning in, if you're a content creator who's not yet monetizing, or if you're someone who's contemplating creating content but have yet to do so, this is the show for you. Rico and I are burgeoning creatorpreneurs, and we're here to share our journey to inspire you.
And it's so important to remember that it's never too late to start. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is to start today. So I want to throw down the gauntlet and encourage you, if you're looking to monetize your knowledge, this is the time to get going. There's a gold rush on content creation. I want to usher in this term creatorpreneur along with you, hence the name, the Creatorpreneurs. What's important to remember, though, is that you do need to learn strategies on how to monetize, as well as the tools and resources to be able to do so.
No, absolutely. And I think the monetization piece we'll step into with a couple of examples and stories that we have in store for today.
And just three quick examples. I like to call them the 3 C's. Building courses, coaching, or just building communities are 3 easy ways to be able to monetize as a creatorpreneur. With that being said, Antonio, do you have a story you can share with the audience about your own journey becoming a creatorpreneur?
You recently shared with me a TikTok video from this creator, Courtney Johnson. And Courtney Johnson, if you're not following her, you might want to give her a look on TikTok. She talked about this notion of being active and consistently posting to LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn might not sound sexy like TikTok or Instagram or YouTube that gets a lot of the love, but the organic reach that you can have on LinkedIn in many ways far exceeds the value that you can extract from the other platforms combined. The key lesson that she suggests is to post daily, if at all possible, but at least be extremely consistent midweek. But she highlights the fact that when you start posting on a daily basis, so many opportunities literally will just hit you in the face. And she also highlights the fact that the reason this is happening is that with such a large platform of 930 million active users, fewer or less than 1% are actively posting on a weekly basis. So that means to say, if you're posting on a daily basis every other day, you're already rising to the very top of the creators on LinkedIn, and that pays dividends. Just to share a couple of examples with the audience today, I've been getting interview requests. And a side note here, if you're not a LinkedIn premium member, it's really worth every penny. You get so many additional insights and benefits than just being a regular member.
Let me just again throw some of those features out. In-mail credits. So if you want to be able to reach out to somebody, slide into their DMs, if you will, it helps to be a premium member because you get a certain number of in-mails per month. Another thing to know is that if you are, of course, connected with somebody, you can automatically do that. Or if you both follow each other, you can connect via direct messages. But just that increased visibility. When you have that premium tag, people realize that you are much more of an active member on the platform. And one other thing I learned about recently is the creator mode is something that people could turn on to have additional features. They're actually doing away with that because they want to encourage everybody to become a creator, if not a creatorpreneur.
So getting back to the story with Courtney and my sort of foray into posting on a daily basis for LinkedIn, I decided to do a short form video of the Thinkific trend report for 2024 and doing short form video. Oftentimes people will, on LinkedIn particularly, they'll do a sort of a tweet-esque type of just text-based post or photos or carousels and things like that. And even content strategists, community managers, they tend to instruct their clients to do videos, but they themselves are not doing videos. So if you're able to create short form video, you'll get a lot of traction there. And so what most impressed me and the thing I'm happiest about with this most recent post is that the team at Thinkific, they literally reached out to me. So beyond just liking my post and commenting it, behind the scenes, they reached out to me and asked if they could share this video on their feed. It's just fantastic to really put out a piece of content that reverberates so much with the people that you're trying to interact with. Going back to the LinkedIn benefits, you can start to see who's viewing your profile. So no longer is it headhunters looking to recruit me back into the corporate world in my prior role. No, now I'm able to see the content strategist at Thinkific viewing my profile. Brand marketers, brand strategists, community managers, and so forth, individuals that I would like to engage with on a one-on-one level potentially. You can follow them, you can send them a DM, literally just talk to them directly, and it's just a fantastic learning opportunity to use LinkedIn. So that's one key takeaway for, I think, the audience here. If they don't yet know where to post, I would put LinkedIn right at the top. Now, of course, you do need to evaluate what type of content you have. Are you selling a product or a service? But my key point here is do not ignore LinkedIn.
I think it's a great story you're sharing. And in fact, one reel that you shared with me recently was this creator talking about reaching out to brands. Many times brands are searching for creators to reach out to create UGC content, this user-generated content. And it's really important to remember that you can just create content. In fact, one of the reasons that new creators struggle to create content is that they just don't know where to start.
So what would you say for these new creators? Like, where is a good starting point? What are some of the tools or the mechanics that they can use to sort of ease that process, to sort of dip their toe into the water?
One of the easiest ways to create content is to create videos about the products or services that you use. A lot of new creators struggle to get onto camera and talk about their own lives. They're not sure what to say. So leverage what you already know about products or services. And I did this in a similar sort of story on LinkedIn. As a communication coach, I'm always looking for resources that I can use myself to become a better communicator or share with my clients. And I happened upon this website called Yoodli.ai. In short, it's an AI speech coach where you record yourself and get insights from AI on how to become a better communicator. And again, this is a game changer. If you want to pick up your skills as a communicator, Yoodli can help you out with that. And so I made a video just highlighting the features, the benefits.
Let me just stop you right there for a second, because when you're talking about creating a video, you basically are like a poet and didn't even know it. You created what's called user-generated content, or a UGC video, that the team at Yoodli got wind of, heard about it, and what happened?
Yeah, so they ended up reaching out. I don't remember who the first person was, but it resulted in a meeting with the two co-founders. And it was an opportunity for them to learn how I'm using the AI tool, as well as how my clients are using it. And ultimately, it resulted in my getting a discount on a subscription, 40% off. And so it was just a fantastic interaction that would have never happened had I not just created the video and posted it to LinkedIn.
You mentioned a couple of things I wanted to comment on. Number one is, by doing this sort of engagement with the audience that you have, you're able to have direct access with people like the co-founders of these organizations, people that are considered like high ups, if you will, could be a potential employer, a potential client down the road. But by adding value, creating value for that brand or organization, that's what they're looking for. And they are willing to bestow things like a 40% discount to you. Some people might say a 40% discount, who cares? It's no big deal. But you'll see in your content creator journey, your creatorpreneur journey, that every dollar adds up. You're going to need to make some investment. So beyond just a camera, a ring light, or a microphone, you're going to want to leverage AI tools. For example, ChatGPT, you can certainly use the free version. We recommend the paid for version. That's $20 a month. And so you'll see that we've got a set of tools in our AI toolkit that if you add up how much editing software is, and this program and that app and so forth, take advantage of these kind of benefits.
Well, that's actually a great segue into this notion of monetization. It is nice to receive in-kind products or to receive discounts, but the name of the game, obviously, and why we've created this show, is for creatorpreneurs to be able to monetize their knowledge. Do you have an example or a story you can share about a creatorpreneur and how he or she is monetizing their knowledge?
Yes, I do have a story to share with the audience today. As a UGC creator myself, I've been able to monetize my content, and since the UGC space is rather competitive, it's all about continually studying and learning and becoming better as either a UGC creator or creatorpreneur or whatever your specialty is. And so as I was networking and engaging and following different individuals and different creators, I stumbled upon this individual. His name is Nick Castle. who's a very big proponent of using Fiverr for his UGC gigs. And he's a level 2 seller on Fiverr. So there's like 3 levels. There's level 1, level 2, and a top rated seller, I believe it's called. And so he is really just one level above me. So he created a guide called Setting Up Your First UGC Fiverr Gig. It's a downloadable product that he made available on this website called Gamma.app. Now, Gamma.app is basically an online tool that leverages AI to help you package your first digital product. And what's great about it is you literally just key in the text and it creates a very, very jazzy, visually appealing product for your potential customers. And then he hosted the e-commerce portion of his site using another technology called beacons.ai. And what's great about this particular example is that it really touches on multiple fronts about monetization. He first offered a discounted price from the $38 full price to only $12 to the community members on his Fiverr UGC community on Twitter. So by being part of this community, engaging with these other creators, specifically in the UGC space, you get key insights from a guy who's very knowledgeable about UGC. I supported him by buying the guide. Granted, I got a discounted price, but that's really how you monetize. You share your knowledge. You can start with a freemium model, offer something for free, and you loop people in because they recognize you're an expert and people want to pay for that. And how about you, Rico? Do you have a similar story you'd like to share about the monetization piece?
Actually, I do. And I think it's all about trying to find other creatorpreneurs in your space who are doing things that you hope to or aspire to. You can literally learn from them and follow in their footsteps. And as I'm a communication coach, I have gone down the rabbit hole of this communication coaching community, and I found Yasser Khan, who's a fantastic creatorpreneur, a phenomenal public speaker and communicator, and he has built a community and a program for people who want to become better communicators. And so from just being able to see how he's building his community using this app called Circle, I get to, one, partake in the community. He just debuted this opportunity for a low rate of $27 a month, where you get to meet with him and others regularly to be able to practice becoming a better speaker. And so I get to become a better communicator, but also learn how you go about building a community. And that's what it's about. Invest in yourself by investing in tools from creatorpreneurs who are further along in their journey than you serves 2 purposes. You get to benefit directly from that skill or that product or whatever you're learning, and then you can take that knowledge and monetize it for your own community or for the products and services that you're selling. So it's all about investing in yourself and learning what others are doing.
I think one point I wanted to highlight as well, as far as the monetization piece specifically, is $12 for a downloadable digital product, $27 to participate in this course. That's not really earth-shattering money. What are your thoughts on those kind of amounts and what it means to people that aspire to be full-time creatorpreneurs? I mean, $12 is not going to put much food on the table. It's not going to pay your rent or your mortgage. So what do you suggest when it comes to products that are of a low amount?
I think the key word is volume. $12 may not sound like a lot, but when you multiply 12 times 1,000, I think 12,000 starts to have a different ring to it, doesn't it? And so that's the idea when you're selling at a lower price point. It's not that it doesn't have value, but you need to look at how many people are going to buy this product. That's not to say you should not strive for a high ticket item. I've seen creators creating academies where it's a high ticket item. It's $6,000 to do the Pod Sound School to learn how to do a video podcast. So it's really about get your feet wet with an affordable digital downloadable product or an inexpensive community, whatever it is, to cut your teeth and really learn where is your specific skill set. So I think it's all about, again, not being afraid of charging too low, gain experience, and through volume and even on low ticket price items, you can actually do pretty well for yourself.
I wanted to comment though on these sort of low ticket products and downloadables and mini courses, etc. It can really be a lead generator for your higher valued products and services and courses. For example, people become familiar with your knowledge and they recognize, in this example of Nick Castle, yeah, sure, it's a very basic gig. And I actually want to kind of step through some of these different items because people might think like, well, Fiverr, isn't that a very easy to use platform? Can I figure it out? And sure, you can spend some time asking the support staff at Fiverr, who's actually very responsive. But this is really like a shortcut for busy individuals. You pay $12. You literally get like a recipe as if you were going to bake a cake or prepare a dish Just follow the steps one by one. I mean, everything from the gig title, how to SEO optimize your gig, how to use the right language, what kind of video to include in your little mini portfolio available. And that's what allows you to separate, for in this particular example, as a UGC creator. I did want to back up and say one thing. So when you start on Fiverr, you're actually a new seller. And then you graduate to a level 1, a level 2, and then a top rated seller. And there are definitely hoops you have to jump through based on the amount of money you're bringing in and the amount of projects that you've completed on time. And so these little investments in your journey is what's really going to propel you over that goal that you have for yourself.
I agree. I think it's very important to not feel like you have to go it alone. Asking for help from others is one of the fast tracks to success. Simon Sinek has this quote that I love. Simon Sinek, for you guys who don't know who he is, he's a motivational speaker and author. And his quote is this: failure we can do on our own. Success always takes help. And when you buy products from other creatorpreneurs, you start to become friends with these people. You start to be able to interact with them. And then because of that, you're finding like-minded individuals, which helps you grow your own community. And that's the name of the game. Being a creatorpreneur can be a bit isolating, especially when you're working entirely independently. So look for ways to meet other creators that'll help you along your journey, and look to work with people who know more than you so you can grow, but also look to provide value for those that know less than you. And the other thing I would say is, yes, it's about creating products that you can monetize. But I also want to state it's very important to also give out value in everything that you do. And some even say give out so much value for free that when you actually have a product or service that's available, you can actually charge a premium price or even have a high ticket item, because people are going to believe in what you're talking about because you've already shown your worth and value in the free value and content you've given out.
As being a person in the UGC space, above and beyond Nick and his example with his community on Fiverr, for example, which was ultimately what allowed me to make that purchase. Just seeing all of the free value that not only he as sort of the admin of this group, this gatekeeper, if you will, of him being this expert, it's also housing these other experts that come together. It's a very safe haven, a fantastic community of people that share similar interests and values and communication styles, and you just feel very welcomed. It's like all the riffraff has been removed, and you can really focus on the lessons to be learned. I think that's really important about this notion of creating a community. Monetization, sure, it's important. We all want to make more money, but by having these engaging communities, you can learn, and then when the moment is right, you can then craft your offer for a more expensive ticket that people are going to be more interested and more enticed to consider purchasing.
And I think it's important to acknowledge, of course, that you want to learn from others in terms of how to create content that you can monetize. But there's other things that are important to know, because as a creatorpreneur, it isn't just about creating a product. It can be offering a service. And I think you actually had a story you wanted to share about how you learned from a creator that it's important to know your value as a creatorpreneur.
Right. And as I mentioned at the top of the podcast, we are burgeoning or aspiring creatorpreneurs who want to share not only our successes and talk about particular experts and so forth, but talk about the trials and tribulations and making some of these faux pas or mistakes along the way. And so again, being active on Fiverr, in addition to my UGC gig, I've actually created another gig for content strategy and doing some social media audits. And I was contacted by 2 individuals interested in having me perform a content strategy proposal for them. And so I went down this path of examining the industry, taking notes, and learning so much. And I really enjoyed in that process of just learning and knowing that I had the knowledge to contribute to their goals and objectives and to help them grow their business, to help them grow their online presence. So I created these proposals. And when it got to the moment of unveiling my prices, there was a bit of sticker shock. Not that it came across as overly apparent during the presentation, but it was just that lack of reaction. And so this creator, Mila Holmes, who's a content strategist, very active on TikTok as well as Instagram, clearly calls out in one of these videos, I'll never forget it, just stating you really have to extract what the client's budget is for what they're willing to pay for this particular project. If you really can't get clarity on what the client's willing to pay, you really should not be spending time on doing all this upfront work, due diligence, investigation, research, putting together all of this work that's for not other than your own learning. because they're not interested in paying the price that you're going to charge them. So by doing that, asking that important question up front is, what is your budget for this particular initiative you have in mind? And then you can throw back your value and you say, hey, for this kind of work, I offer typically between $2,000 and $6,000 for this kind of work as an upfront fee. And then on a monthly basis, we can discuss, etc. But if you have a general thermometer, if you have a general guideline of what the client is willing to pay, that's going to facilitate your work, and you don't have to go down that path of doing so much work that's not going to lead to any sort of profitability for you.
I concur. I had a similar experience when working with a client. I was propositioned to create content. And initially, I was excited about the opportunity to have another project, to, of course, bring in more income. But I didn't do the necessary groundwork of just asking, what's your budget? What are you expecting to pay for this kind of work? And if a client doesn't want to answer, I think you can say, well, until you come back with a figure, I can't move forward. Or instead of spending time putting together a proposal, just ask around from other creatorpreneurs, what would you charge for this type of work? Because you're not always going to know as a new creatorpreneur how much to charge. But had I just put forth a number at the beginning, this would have saved a lot of time back and forth. And luckily that didn't damage the relationship I had with the client, because when I did put forth a number, there was a bit of sticker shock as well. And the other thing I will say is, do not be afraid of charging what you need to pay your bills and to not just survive, but thrive. At the end of the day, what I've learned in my coaching journey is we need to get beyond that I'm just doing services for others at a cost or price point that I'm comfortable with. You need to learn how to be uncomfortable, because when you do that, it's amazing how the problems that you have with clients go away. When you're charging a low rate, the clients you're going to get, they're going to ask a lot of questions. They're going to want you to do reshoots. They're going to want redo the work, and it's just not worth the hassle.
You highlighted a point I wanted to chime in on there, and that's exactly right. Know your worth, and don't be afraid to ask what you're worth. So for example, if you think as a content strategist, your proposal is worth $2,000, stick to your guns, because to your point, when you do deal with clients that are so cash strapped and are looking literally for the cheapest possible solution, to your point, they're going to be the ones that are most difficult to please. And I've got several examples of that, particularly in the UGC space, where I may have agreed to do a particular video thinking it would be a quick $50 or a quick $100, but the time and effort involved and doing the work that A, I didn't enjoy doing, and B, the client wasn't overly satisfied, you can really avoid that headache and just lack of pleasant experience on both ends by just drawing the line in the sand and say, look, this is my price, and stick by that price, and that's it. If they can't meet your price, they're not the right client for you.
Absolutely. And I've learned in my own coaching journey, when somebody tells you no, that no just means next one. When you work with clients that are willing to pay your rates, you're going to feel good. The client's going to feel like they're getting value. And that is so key to having great relationships, getting those referrals, having that word of mouth spread. You, of course, want to create content to promote yourself, but having those great relationships is very, very vital.
I do want to say for the audience here who might think of this a sample problem that we have as very simplistic, but that's really the goal of this particular podcast, is to unveil some of these simple mistakes that you can avoid literally by just listening and taking note. Now going forward, you can bet that I'm not going to be doing these proposals without knowing the client's budget. Now, for some people in particular roles in corporate that are making this transition themselves, maybe it's a very simple fix, but for those that are coming up with a proposal for the very first time, it's a strong consideration to understand is what is the client willing to pay.
And the other thing I wanted to add on that, when you work with people who are willing to invest in themselves, they understand the value and importance of growing their business. People know, entrepreneurs know, it takes money to make money. When business owners are looking for services or products, they're oftentimes willing to pay a premium because they know they're not going to have to deal with getting substandard work in return. So you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not charging the rates that you know that you can be getting. Don't ever get into the race to the bottom. It's a race you're never going to win, and you're only going to be sad and not have the funds you need to continue in this creator economy. And unfortunately, most creators and creatorpreneurs who start don't stick with it because they're just not asking enough for their services.
Absolutely. And I think that, once you do create your first product, your fellow entrepreneurs, creatorpreneurs are going to support your efforts. Maybe they don't purchase a product outright, but they'll at least reshare wherever you're posting it, whether it's a reel, whether it's an Instagram post, whether it's a LinkedIn post. Count on that support to really get your message out there, I think is the key thing. That's another benefit of relying and leaning on your community, is look to that support that isn't always about how much money someone's giving you, but more of the moral support, right? I think that's a very important consideration to get started.
Yeah, the community piece is so vital in order to stay motivated in this work, because it is challenging work. You have to do so many different things. And if you're looking to go full time, to launch a business as a solopreneur, as a creatorpreneur, is daunting. I don't want to say that it's easy. It's simple in nature, but it's not easy. You need to stay motivated. It's a bit of an emotional roller coaster, but stay the course, learn from others, get involved in the community, and that's going to make all the difference in the world.
Right. And I think, part of this podcast as well is to share and showcase particular tools and resources that we as creatorpreneurs are using ourselves. Do you have any examples that you would like to share with the audience today about things that you've been utilizing most specifically, and maybe how they could implement that in their own efforts?
I'm going to start with just this podcast. Prior to doing this video podcast with you, all of the podcasting I had done was done remotely using a tool called Riverside.fm, which is an online platform similar to Google Meet or Zoom or Microsoft Teams, where you interview your guests right online, or it's just you as a talking head recording into Riverside. But if you want to do an in-studio recording, you're going to need to have mics going into a mixer. When you do that, the video and the audio are not synced. So I learned from doing
You have two different files, basically.
Yeah, so you have two different files, two big files, a video file and a sound file. And trying to sync audio and video together, if you don't know what you're doing, is a very tedious task.
Well, the manual piece.
Yeah, you're with your mouse and you're trying to zoom in and get it just right. I didn't even know until the guys at I'll Just Play told us about CapCut Desktop. Literally with the click of a button, you highlight the tracks you want to sync, click the button, boom, it comes together for you seamlessly. So that's one tip and trick I want to share with anybody who's looking to create a video podcast, having separate video and audio tracks synced very easily.
Absolutely. No, and I think that's very important to talk about, not just tools, because CapCut Desktop, it may not be considered AI. I think there's a fine line that maybe blurs when is it just an app or is it AI? So for example, I saw a recent video on TikTok where it talks about you're trying to create a horizontal landscape video, but your input video is vertical or portrait, 9/16 aspect ratio. So now within CapCut, you can literally put in a portrait video, and with AI within the tool, it will automatically create a fake background to support your horizontal video. So that's what the point is here, is don't be intimidated by AI. Leverage these tools that will support you and make the work so much easier. You don't need to toil away doing things manually. Just jump right in and don't be threatened. I mean, there's so many people out there that are willing to help you out and share their knowledge. Quick little search in YouTube or a quick search in TikTok, oftentimes really it just shows you how easy it can be.
And that's a great point. Going back to this trend report, that all platforms are becoming learning platforms. You talked about TikTok, their SEO, their search engine optimization to find creators or content is incredible. But I also wanted to highlight ChatGPT. This service just continues to amaze me. AI, if you're not using it, what is the resistance? You need to ask yourself. I just learned in the last couple of weeks, or last week actually, that ChatGPT has a voice system now, ChatGPT voice, where you can literally have a conversation. It's as though you're speaking to your own virtual assistant. I've learned how to use this now with my coaching clients. And so again, if you're looking for support and you're struggling to get things done, rely on these AI tools, learn them now, and you start to stack those skills and things start to come together for you. So don't be intimidated, but you do need to start now and just take time every day learning new skills as much as you can.
That's a great point. And again, going back to the Thinkific trend report, at the very end of the report, there's a couple of links that will lead you to the free tools. Again, Part of this journey is that there is an investment in the process. In addition to having a smartphone, in addition to maybe buying some lights, a microphone, nothing this expensive necessarily, but just there's some initial cash outlay. Leverage the free tools that are out there. You don't have to start with ChatGPT, the paid edition, but start with it, get familiar with the tools that you like and the ones that you're using the most, then upgrade, right? I think that's really the notion here, is that Rome was not built in a day. There's no need to get a toolbox and just stack all these different tools, very expensive tools that you're never really going to use, right? Just start small. Buy the wrench, buy the hammer, and just go with those. And then all of a sudden you can get a bit more specialized in the tools that you're using to create your content.
And I also want to just highlight, I think that by following other creatorpreneurs in their journey, you learn so much from them. So if you want to learn about things like AI or ChatGPT, I just want to give a shout out to Drake Sirach. This is a young kid, 20 years old. He just made a video about how he made $200,000 in 6 months. This kid is 20 years old, selling digital products, how to use ChatGPT. He's got a course. He's got templates that he's selling that are based off of Notion. I don't know what platform he's selling them on. I know he has his own website. But again, learn from other creatorpreneurs. Let them teach you. You don't need to reinvent the wheel or feel like you have to take it on all by yourself, but just be willing to invest, at the very least, if not the money, the time it takes to learn these skills. So vital.
Well, that's a great point you brought up, is about these experts. And that's really our goal with this podcast, is to bring in experts who are knowledgeable at a very, very deep level, regardless of their age. Drake, only 20 years old, that's fine. But if you watch his YouTube channel and see how in-depth he takes you on the free video, you can only imagine what kind of value you're going to extract from a paid course that's in-depth, walk you through step by step by step. So I would invite the audience to chime in and suggest people that we could potentially interview on this podcast, whether it's experts in AI, different tools, different creators. We would love the opportunity to have those people on our podcast so they can share their message with our audience. We can learn from their audience, have some synergy there, and just really offer a lot of value to the listeners and the people tuning in to this podcast, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify, etc.
This has been so much fun to just share our learnings on our own journey. And listeners and viewers, please feel free to reach out to us. You can connect with us across our socials at The Creatorpreneurs. We'd love to engage with you. Slide into our DMs. Let us know what you think. If there are topics as well that you want to have us go do a deep dive on, we'll be happy to do that. But we want to build this community of creatorpreneurs. There's never been a better time to get in. If you're thinking about it, don't think any longer. Just get started, hit record, and let's go.
That's right, Rico. Great episode. Until we meet again, let's keep going.
Until next time, everyone.